What I'm doing fundamentally is challenging the materialist model of reality which science is based on, has been for more than 100 years, which is the doctrine that all matter is unconscious. The whole universe is made of unconscious matter, which then leaves the problem of how come we're conscious. Most scientists assume that consciousness exists only in human brains and possibly in animal brains too. And the rest of the universe is unconscious, purposeless, going nowhere. Evolution is just a matter of blind chance. There's no God out there, there's no spirit out there, there's no creativity out there, it's just chance. And that because they believe our minds are nothing but our brains, then anything that suggests the mind extends further than the brain must be pseudoscientific. But the materialists wanted to believe that because they wanted a universe that's just matter, because such a universe would have no God in it. In the 19th century, within biology, a lot of people were vitalists. They thought there was a life force or some life principle. It wasn't just matter, organisms weren't just machines. An idea that came up in the 1920s in developmental biology was the idea of morphogenetic fields, fields that shape form. I got interested in this, but then I realized these fields have to be inherited somehow. They can't be inherited through genes, which only code for proteins. They had to be inherited by some kind of direct link. And then I realized if there was a kind of memory across time, a great deal of biology would make sense. Not just biology, but a lot of nature. That idea already existed in the psychologist Jung, with his idea of the collective unconscious. Had the idea that we all tap into a kind of collective memory. But he was thinking just in terms of human psychology, and I'm saying that's the way that all nature works, it's not just us. Now, you're studying Eastern philosophy, and in Eastern philosophy, the idea of a memory in nature is completely standard. Well, it's basically part of the philosophy of karma, which in its limited form is about reincarnation, carrying over memories from one life to another. And in some forms of Buddhist and Hindu philosophy, they have this idea of a cosmic memory. The Theosophists took this up with their idea of the Akashic records, which is a kind of cosmic memory bank. The metaphysical belief system that nature is totally mechanical, that it's all unconscious, that the laws are fixed, because they're materialists, everything must be matter, so all our memories must be inside our head. And therefore, when you die and your brain decays, all your memories are wiped out. So every religion that believes in reincarnation or an afterlife or purgatory, any form of transmigration, anything like that, must be rubbish, because memories in the brain is impossible for any aspect of them to survive. What it leaves, the materialist worldview from which God's been removed, leaves people alone, isolated in the privacy of their skulls, and is a world that's meaningless and depressing, and that's why depression is the endemic disease of modern societies. People think of science as against spirituality, but if you actually use science correctly and you look in an open-minded way, you study spiritual practices scientifically, like meditation, for example, then it turns out the evidence is overwhelming. Well, people who do it are happier, healthier, live longer, lowering stress levels, sleep better. If we escape from this dogmatic prison that it's in at the moment, it could become much more positive and life-affirming. And I think that if we switch from a view of nature as being dead, inanimate and mechanical, to a view of nature as a living cosmos that's evolving, and everything in nature is being alive, the Earth, the Sun, the solar system, the galaxy, plants and animals, we'd feel much more connected if we feel ourselves part of a living world. And then the kind of spiritual principles that give rise to that world, or the creative forces that underlie it, we'd feel they were more relevant and closer to us, and we'd see God in nature and God in us. And I think then when that happens, our lives become much more connected, much more meaningful, and much happier too.